ODK is a very hyper-aggressive faction, and it's a good job that they are good at what they do, really, as otherwise the faction would be pretty bad, and it's already not great, though it does have some excellent options in its relatively small roster. Well, I'm going to kick it off with the major weaknesses, as they are probably what we already know, but there's also some stuff you might not know. ODK, no survivability, as I don't think there's shield on them, except for these Falcons over here. As you can see on the Thracian warriors coming up. On the Falcons, they don't, not the Falcons, the Thracian warriors, they don't have, that shield doesn't act as a block chance. It's fake. I don't believe the Thracians actually have a shield. And if they do, it's like 10-20% missile block chance. So even though the shield is there, it's basically not. Low survivability meaning that they have 10, 30, and then 55 armour on their base units that aren't mercenary. As you can see, we've got some mercenary hoplites coming up. You can take some mercenary hoplites. They have 3 mercenary hoplites and 2 mercenary veteran hoplites, which you can use as some armour in your army, though I don't recommend the regular hoplites, even as ODK. You really, really want to play to your strengths here. If you're going ODK, you're going big dick. You need to go just launch yourself at the enemy. And the veteran hoplites are an option. You could definitely bring them if you need that safe infantry. If you're playing, let's say, Pergamon, even if it gets Pergamon, I think maybe you would go more mercenary hoplites, but you're probably cooked either way. Their Thracian nobles are one of the best units. Moving on to the strengths now. Thracian nobles and all the Thracian and Falx units, they're incredibly, incredibly strong on the charge of great aggressive capabilities there. They have like the charge bonus of nearly a cavalry unit, more than a Hippeus, which is insane. They have a hidden bonus versus large on the Rumfire, the 45 damage weapon, 15 AP. I'm not 100% sure on the Falx, though I think it does. So whilst it may not look like it, they are actually a very good anti-cav faction. Their missiles are cheap, not brilliant, however their peltasts are amazing. The Thracian peltasts I love, and the Thracian skirmishers are basically the same thing, just take away the melee stats, and they cost far less, obviously. They too are vulnerable to missiles. Though, guess what does come to ODK's strength is that you can't shoot everything. If their Thracian nobles get into the enemy and they don't have any missiles, there's not much that can stop them. But this is a shock infantry-oriented faction. If they stay in a fight for too long, their extremely low melee defense is gonna be a problem for them. So, I guess I will go onto the open plain and show you what they have. Now, as you can probably tell by the size of their roster, it's probably going to be a smaller or shorter video, but we'll kick it off with the regular spears, shared with Gete. They are... I'll wait for him to finish his...
They tremble already at the sight of us!
Okay, he finished his speech. So... They're good for, like, burning towers if you're taking ODK on attack, which is a big dick move, respect. They're good at tanking a charge for your Falksmen or Thracian warriors to go in after them. They are somewhat armoured, they only cost 220. They're good bonus versus large, like I said, ODK is a very good anti-cat faction. 7 AP on their spear, meaning if they do land a hit, it's going to hurt. But the thing is, they'll almost never land a hit. Meaning the kills are going to be low. Because it only costs 220, no pila, blah blah blah. But you could bring 1 or 2 of these guys to tank that charge, or you can use them to burn towers rather than your Falksmen, because that's just not going to go well. Speaking of Falksmen, you got the Falksmen or the Thracian warriors. They basically perform the same. There's a couple of distinct differences. Falksmen have a higher charge bonus. There's a different weapon between the two, and the Thracians have higher attack and more armor. These guys are capped at 4 because they're mercenaries, and these guys are uncapped because they're standard units. These guys cost 320, these guys 420, and you notice that they both usually get around the same amount of kills because they both get dumped equally, meaning they don't really get that much value. When they don't get shot, they're gonna hit like a small island because if you go to charge bonus,
Thracian warriors!
82 charge bonus on attack because you add the charge bonus onto the melee attack, and then weapon damage is still immense. And then these guys are 48, so it's gonna be very similar. Like, they're guaranteed to get loads of hits, loads of AP on these weapons, hidden bonus versus large. Whilst they may die to Cav, they're gonna do a lot of damage to the Cav as well. So bear that in mind. The bulk of your army will be Thracian warriors, though I've seen a more tendency to elite spam the Thracian nobles. I'll cover both hoplites at the same time. You got the veterans and the regulars. The regulars are I'd only recommend bringing if facing a faction like Pergamon, because as a faction like ODK, you've really got to play to its strengths, and if you don't, you're probably going to lose. So, unless you're facing Pergamon or Pontus, don't bring the Merc hoplites. Despite, also, these mercenary hoplites, I just noticed,
Spearmen, ready for order.
they have 75 armor compared to the regular 80. That's interesting. I did not notice that. Huh. Okay. So they're actually less survivable than regular hoplites. Interesting. I guess you learn something every day. The Merc veterans you could bring if you want. They are slightly costly, capped at 840. Though they are your only stable front line that can kill. Because of the elite spear and extremely survivable. They're gonna do just fine. Don't even think they're really missing his ECD. But if these guys tank any amount of ammo, you should be happy with that. You can get... If the real problem or dilemma you have with the veterans is, do you want to bring one veteran or 2 Thracian warriors? Because they cost double. If you bring 2 of these, you can instead bring 4 Thracian warriors. It really comes down to what you're facing. If you need survivability, once again, if you're facing a faction like Massilia, Merc vets. If not, you're saying Seleucid, or let's say Bowie Eye, because that's a better matchup probably. It goes full on for the killing power. Thracian nobles. They have headhunt, 63 charge bonus, 45 weapon damage. These guys tank a bit more than you would think, with 55 armor and 65 HP. They've surprised me a few times. Obviously, there's low melee defense on all these units, meaning they cannot grind other than the hoplites. They have headhunting, they're unbreakable during the second phase, and their melee attack is really, really high. You can battle them as well. These guys, on the charge, decimate anything. The only thing that could possibly compete, maybe, is the Disciples of Petermark. Yeah, 1300, one of your 2 general options. On defense, 4 or 5 of these. I will post comps now. On attack, even more. Though, these guys, don't like hoplites. If you're facing Sparta as VDK, you're dead. Because of VCD, and they just counter you. Moving on to the slingers and the bowmen.
Missiles ready.
Cheap skirmishers, the bows, are doing nothing for you other than acting as a baby archer. You could bring 1 or 2 of these on attack or defense, depending on what you're facing. But I'd much rather get the slingers, due to the more ammo, more range, the shield, meaning they can tank a few more shots. Despite the fact they're already really not survivable. These guys cost 280, these guys 270, slightly overpriced on each, but though they are your only options for doing damage at a long range. And any ammo these guys eat, I'd be happy with, because it's less ammo on my other units.
Ready for
They have 2 skirmishing options. Their peltasts are really good. You got the Thracian skirms and the Thracian peltasts. The main difference is melee stats. The Thracian peltasts, with full 80, have quick reload. And they have a 10 AP weapon, as you can see in melee. These guys do a lot of damage, and they can do it fast, makes a quick reload. And these guys also do a lot of damage, but not as fast, because they don't have quick reload. But these guys are 330, these guys 480. I'd always recommend bringing these guys as ODK. You're going to do a lot of damage just before that decisive charge. Even in land, I'd imagine you might bring a few of them. But these videos are mostly for siege.
missiles ready.
Experiment, mix and match of the missiles. Everything is viable here. In terms of Cav, Thracian horsemen are awful, as I've been told. Imagine the spear horsemen of Getae but medium. That's what you get. They get frenzy charge, but they still suck. I've been told, and I've seen in screenshots, they never do well. So, I haven't used them, because of what I've been told, but number 1 ODK player, Mr. Bobby, has told me they suck, so. Thracian Royal Cav, one of my favourite melee cav. Unlike the rest of their roster, they have 90 armour, which is the highest on any melee cav. It's borderline cataphract level. They have javelins, they have really good stats all around, and they're just a really, really good cav unit. And they are your gen option as well. So, if you need a cav option, you go the Thracian Royal Cav, though it comes down to, will the Thracian Nobles late game get more kills than your cavalry? And that's the option you've got here. But I do recommend the Thracian Royal Cav as a really good cavalry option. Though I don't know why you'd bring it unless you want the flexibility and the damage they can do that Spear Horseman can't. Not Spear Horseman, sorry, Thracian Horseman.
Thracian cavalry!
Thracian Cavalry, the only Javi that doesn't have 41 minutes of damage in their roster. Slightly higher armor than I'd expect, especially by looking at them. Good melee stats. These guys got, I think, 480. I might be tripping. But you can bring them, but I don't think you really need to. I don't think they're worth it, in my opinion. They're lights after they're out of ammo. They're not going to do much damage. The melee stats are quite nice. I don't recommend them, but you could bring them if you're facing like a Saba. You know, the javelins do the hidden bonus versus large. But yeah, as ODK, you gotta play to their strengths. If you don't, you're missing out. And yeah, I would recommend spamming as many nobles as you can without making them your entire army. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you next time.